Luke. We moved from cool math to wicked science. The only thing I didn't like about our science units was we had to have partners. I preferred to do my projects alone, but Mr. Terupt teamed us up. We were working with plants and he said we didn't have enough space for everyone to have their own. Jeffrey was my partner, which, believe it or not, worked out great because he let me do whatever I wanted. He didn't care. The only bad part was that he was always grumpy, dollar word. He studied phototrophism by observing how a plant grew towards light after we stuffed it into a box that only had a tiny hole on its side. We studied geotrophism by observing how our plant grew towards the ceiling. Even after we tipped the plant on its side for a few days and then we were given the opportunity to study a variable on our own, Mr. Terupt told us to manipulate the plant's nourishment. Feed it whatever you want, he said. Make your own concoctions. Jeffrey left me alone. He hated school and everything about it. That day I hurried home and studied my periodic table. I had received a special chemistry set last Christmas. Hydrogen and oxygen make a special bond, which, when they come together, they form water. So I figured I would try to recreate that special bond with whatever molecular, dollar word, ingredients I chose. I looked through the chemicals in my set and picked out the ones that would result in the same type of electron balance that occurred in hydrogen and oxygen bond. I took my ingredients to school and got ready to measure the mix. Jeffrey was slightly interested at this point. Mr. Terupt, on the other hand, appeared a little uneasy about the whole thing, but he never stopped me. Luke, sometimes when you mix chemicals, it can cause a reaction, which explodes, dollar word. I know, I said, but maybe we shouldn't mix these in the classroom without knowing what's going to happen, he said. It might not be safe. All these potions came from my chemistry set at home. My mom saw it. It's safe, I said. I'm trying my best to convince Mr. Terupt. I didn't tell Mom or Mr. Terupt about the few ingredients I got from Dad's garage. I knew it would work. Hey guys, come and look at all the stuff Luke's mixing together, Chris yelled. I felt everyone gather behind me as I began mixing my substances together in a bowl, but before I could feed my plant, something happened. The first bowl started feeling warmer, then hot. The potion turned dark green, then gray. It started bubbling first slowly, then rapidly. I knew this was bad. Back up. Everyone back up. Get away from it, Mr. Terupt ordered. Smoke started billowing from my concoction. Then the screech of the fire alarm pounded against my ears. The only other thing I heard was Peter laughing. This is awesome, he yelled. Way to go, Lukester. Everybody outside. Everybody outside, Mr. Terupt ordered. I was done for. I was sure of it. Wrong again. Mr. Terupt spoke to Miss Williams and took the blame for everything. He even stood up for the fire marshal, who always walks through the building after an unannounced fire alarm. The marshal wanted our dollar word poster taken off the hallways. He claimed that they were a fire hazard. Jeffrey thought this confrontation was a big deal. Did you see Terupt say no to that guy, he said. He refused to take our poster down. I saw, I said, and I saw flashbacks of smoke pouring out of the bowl. I knew I wasn't ever going to be a botanist, dollar word. At least Jeffrey had gotten excited about something. I wish Mr. Terupt hadn't trusted us so much. Maybe it was because he was a first-year teacher and didn't know better, but I don't think that was it. I think it was a case of Mr. Terupt being a special teacher. Jeffrey. Luke was trying to feed our plant. I saw the smoke rising, and I knew this was going to happen. Terupt did too, because I saw him go to the window right away. Not fast enough, though. The alarm still went off. The whole school had to go outside because of Luke. Then, when we came back in, some guy was walking down the hall with our janitors, Mr. Loomis and Mr. Ruddy. Terupt sent us into the classroom, but he didn't stay in the hall. I hid by the door to listen. All of it, the man yelled. I want all of it off the walls. He was pointing at our math posters. Mr. Loomis looked at Terupt. You heard him, he said. I'm not taking them down, Terupt said. Do you know who this is, Mr. Ruddy said. This is the fire marshal. Terupt said, I don't care who it is. I'm not taking them down. He looked at the fire marshal and said, "You have no idea how hard my kids worked on these." He was pointing at our posters. He was pointing at my poster and the one with the word on it, stupid. It wasn't even a dollar word. All of a sudden I felt bad because I hadn't tried on Terupt's project. There were some more words, but then the fire marshal left. The poster stayed. I hope he felt stupid. Mr. Terupt came back into the room. Peter was out of his seat. "Mr. T, you just told that guy off," Peter said, dancing around. "That was awesome." "No, I didn't," Terupt said. "Get in your seat. You shouldn't have seen that." "But I saw it, and I heard it. Terupt stuck up for us. There's always posters up in the school's halls, and they're never fire hazards. I think the fire marshal was just mad about our false alarm, and I think Terupt knew that too. He wasn't going to get pushed around. Our hard work mattered to Terupt, even mine. I owed him now. I had to try, even if only a little." Anna, I didn't want my plane to die. I didn't want to put it in the box. Everybody was staring at me. I started crying. Mr. Terupt took me out in the hall. "Anna, what's wrong?" "I don't want to kill my plane," I blurted out. My back slid down the wall and I put my head in my hands. "We're not going to kill your plant." Mr. Terupt knelt down in front of me. "Yes, you are," I said. "If we put it in a box, it's going to kill it." "We'll take it out before it dies," he promised. "No, I don't want to hurt it." "Tell you what, Anna, let's do the experiments that are lined up for your plant. We have to, because Danielle is your partner, and she needs to do the science too. Then when we're all done, I'll let you take my plant, our control, the one we don't do anything to." I still didn't like the idea of hurting my plant, but I liked the idea of getting the control. I think he saw my hesitation. "Plus, since you're working with Danielle, I have a feeling that your plant is actually going to be just fine. I don't know Danielle that well. She's never been in my class before. She seems nice. I like her. Sometimes she's friends with Alexa. I don't know why. I'm glad I'm partners with Danielle and not Alexa. I've never been in Alexa's class, but I can tell she's mean. All the girls listen to her, though. Katie, Emily, Heather, Natalie, all of them. Not me. I stay away from her. My mom has warned me not to get involved in those popularity stuff. She was ostracized once, which means nobody wanted to be friends with her. My mom told me it was like there was a big group of people holding hands in a circle and she was never let in. She always had to stand outside the circle. Mom doesn't ever want that to happen to me. It was when she was 16 and pregnant with me. I can tell that she still hurts inside from all of it. Even her own parents, stunned. That's why she quit school shortly after I was born and moved out. She tried to move in with my dad. I've never met him. But that didn't work out. He left. Mom says we can talk about my dad and the whole situation when I'm older. All I know is that she says he's a nice man. My grandma and grandpa, I've never met them either, still don't want anything to do with us. They moved far away after my mom moved out. My mom might be young, but she's still a great mom. She's my best friend and I love her. If you love someone, you don't quit on them just because they make a mistake. Mr. Terupt helped me stand up. "Trust me on this one," he said. "Be positive." We headed back into the classroom. My plant went into the box and came out a few days later, a little yellow and without a lot of new growth. But it was alive. Turning it on its side wasn't harmful, so I was okay with that test. And then it was our chance to feed it whatever we wanted. Mr. Terupt was right. Danielle knew what she was doing. "Here's a list of things we could mix together," Danielle said. I read the list. "I don't even know everything on it. How did she?" "My grandmother helped me with it," she said. "She's always been good at growing things. She's the reason we have a successful crop on the farm." But both of us brought in some of the ingredients. We mixed them together and fed our plant. Ours was the only one to survive. It turned really green and grew and grew and grew. I took the control home, but Danielle and I decided to leave our plant in school. We kept feeding it and everyone watched it grow. It grew almost to the ceiling, wrapping itself around the cords to the blinds all the way up. Then one day it was knocked over. Somehow our super duper plant fell off the windowsill. Nobody knows how it happened. I have a pretty good idea though. I bet Alexa did it, because it happened that when she was being nasty to Danielle. I'm thankful that Mr. Terupt let me take the control home. I didn't want her to hurt that one too. I like being Danielle's partner. I wonder now if Mr. Terupt knew what he was starting between me and Danielle. I wonder.